You've been taught to ask, to beg, to wish, and maybe if you're good enough, patient enough, lucky enough, the universe will answer. But here's the truth no one ever told you. The universe doesn't respond to words. It doesn't care about how loud you pray or how many vision boards you make. It listens to one thing and one thing only: your frequency. Everything in existence is energy, from the stars that hang in the heavens to the thoughts you repeat in your head when no one's listening. Every atom, every intention, every emotion vibrates at a specific pitch. And that pitch? It's your true language. It's the real prayer. You don't attract what you want, you attract what you are. And the version of you who is still wishing, still chasing, still trying to convince reality to change, hasn't realized yet that the change begins within, not out there. There is a current flowing through the cosmos, an unseen rhythm. Those who align with it don't have to try so hard. Life starts bending toward them. Doors open, synchronicities flood in, miracles become mundane. And it's not because they're special, it's because they're tuned in. Imagine a radio playing static. It's still broadcasting, but the message is scrambled. That's what most people do with their energy. Mixed signals. 1 minute full of faith, the next consumed by doubt. One day envisioning abundance, the next obsessing over lack. The universe hears all of it. And it doesn't pick and choose. It mirrors whatever is most dominant. So if your dominant vibration is confusion, it gives you more to be confused about. If it's certainty, alignment, peace, it wraps the world around you in harmony. That's not magic, that's mechanics. You weren't born to chase favor, you were born to radiate it. Favor is not some cosmic lottery, it's a frequency, a state of being. It flows naturally to those who have remembered their power, who have stopped performing and started embodying. And you can feel it the moment you step into that alignment, the moment you stop asking and start assuming, not in arrogance, but in quiet knowing. Think of the sun. It doesn't ask for permission to shine, it simply shines, and the entire world adjusts itself around its presence. That's what happens when you embody your true frequency. Reality rearranges itself to accommodate the signal you're broadcasting. This isn't about pretending, it's not about reciting affirmations like spells, hoping something will happen. It's about becoming the version of you who no longer doubts, who no longer questions, who no longer separates themselves from the favor they're seeking. Because here's the secret. The version of you that has everything you desire already exists. It's not a fantasy. It's a frequency, and the moment you match it, not with words, but with energy, you meet that version, you merge with it, and everything changes. But most people never get there, not because it's hard, but because they're addicted to effort. They've been conditioned to believe that if they're not striving, grinding, pushing, then they're doing something wrong. But the most aligned beings aren't forceful. They're magnetic. You don't have to chase the light when you realize you are the source of it. Favor flows to those who remember their essence, who stop trying to deserve and start embodying, who shift from wanting to being, from begging to becoming. You've already felt glimpses of this, moments when things just clicked, when you weren't trying so hard and yet everything flowed. That wasn't an accident. That was alignment. That was you without resistance, without doubt, without the noise. Now imagine if that became your baseline. No more proving, no more pleading, just frequency, just congruence, just the silent certainty of someone who knows they're already in tune. And it starts with one choice. Stop trying to get it and start being it. The person who is favored isn't doing more, they're aligned more. They've trained themselves to feel it before it arrives, to trust it before it shows, to be it before it's seen. And that's when the universe responds, not as a gift, but as a mirror. You are not here to convince the universe. You are here to command it through coherence. You command not with force, but with frequency. And frequency doesn't lie. Favor doesn't come when you finally say the right thing. It comes when you finally feel the right thing. Deep in your bones, in your breath, in your posture. It's not about the outer expression. It's about the inner signal. You can smile on the outside and still vibrate desperation. You can speak like a master and still emit the frequency of fear. The universe responds to what's underneath, always. That's why some people who say nothing receive everything. They aren't broadcasting noise. They're transmitting truth. Their energy speaks louder than their mouths ever could. You've seen it. You've felt it. Someone walks into a room, and without saying a word, they shift the entire atmosphere. That's alignment. That's frequency mastery. And you have that same power, but you've got to become aware of what you're emitting. Not what you think you're putting out, but what you're actually radiating. Because reality doesn't reflect what you believe in theory, it reflects what you believe in your nervous system. So ask yourself honestly, what's your dominant signal? Is it trust or is it tension? Is it wholeness or is it need? Is it confidence or is it doubt hiding behind affirmations? You can't fake vibration. The universe doesn't respond to appearances. It responds to resonance. And when your inner world becomes clear, congruent and aligned, reality starts obeying you in ways that seem supernatural. But they're not supernatural, they're structural, built into the very laws that govern this reality. The law of vibration, the law of assumption, these aren't wishful thinking, they're the scaffolding behind every manifestation. And here's what most people miss. They try to manifest from lack. They try to visualize a new reality while emotionally rooted in fear, in doubt, in not having, and then they wonder why nothing shifts. It's because energy doesn't care what you're thinking. It cares what you're feeling. Your emotions are the transmitter. Your identity is the amplifier. So if you feel unworthy while imagining abundance, you are still broadcasting unworthiness. If you visualize love while doubting you'll ever be chosen, you're still transmitting loneliness. That's the contradiction that breaks the signal. You don't need more effort. You need more alignment. The path to favor isn't paved with effort. It's paved with embodiment. And embodiment starts with letting go. Letting go of the version of you that believes you have to earn love, chase worth, or fight for attention. Favor finds those who are still enough to receive it, quiet enough to hold it, aligned enough to be it. The truth is, you've been favored all along, but favor can't land on a frequency that doesn't match it. It's like trying to catch a song that's not playing on your station. You'll sit there in silence, not because the song doesn't exist, but because you're not tuned in. So how do you tune in? You begin by deciding who you are. Not who you want to be, who you are. You shift from wishing to being. You stop repeating affirmations like you're trying to convince the universe, and you start living them like they're already true. You walk differently. You speak differently. You carry yourself with the knowing that what you desire is not on its way. It's already yours. You just had to become the version of you that could hold it. And here's the paradox. The moment you truly become that version, you no longer need the manifestation to feel whole. You already are. And that's when the universe delivers, not because you finally proved yourself. This is the frequency of favor. It's silent. It's steady. It's sovereign. It doesn't beg. It doesn't chase. It doesn't panic. It simply is. You don't need permission. You don't need a sign. You don't need the world to confirm it before you claim it. You just need to align. And when you do, the universe can't help but favor you. Because you're not asking for the blessing, you've become it. You can't play a jazz song on an instrument tuned for chaos. Imagine a flute forged from metal warped by fire. No matter how beautifully you blow, the music will always come out bent, dissonant, off. That's what it feels like when your thoughts say one thing Your emotions feel another, your identity clings to the past, and your expectations are wrapped in fear. That's the absence of vibrational congruence. It's why your reality feels stuck, delayed, or distorted. Vibrational congruence is when your entire being is tuned to a single frequency, when your thoughts, emotions, identity, and expectations are all playing the same note, not in theory, not in wishful thinking, but in felt, embodied resonance. When that happens, the universe doesn't just respond, it reflects. It reflects with precision, with exactness, not because it's testing you, but because it's reading you. It's not judging your worth, it's mirroring your broadcast. You've already seen this in your life. Think back to moments when you were in sync, when you felt clear, grounded, certain. Things flowed, didn't they? People called you at just the right time. Money showed up unexpectedly. Opportunities unfolded like petals. Not because you forced them, but because your frequency aligned with them. And think back to the opposite. The moments of doubt. The times when you tried to make things happen while secretly fearing they wouldn't. When you smiled through clenched teeth and said, "It's fine," while your energy screamed, "I'm scared." What did the universe reflect then? Delay. Static. Resistance. Your outer world lags behind your inner broadcast. Always. What you live today is the echo of yesterday's energy. You're not being punished. You're experiencing the playback. That's why it's not enough to change your words or your goals. You have to change your signal. And that signal is made up of 4 parts: thought, emotion, identity, and expectation. All 4 must harmonize. If you think abundance but feel unworthy, your signal is conflicted. If you expect love but carry the identity of someone who always gets left, your signal is distorted. If you affirm health but deep down expect decline, the frequency is broken. The universe responds to the signal that's most consistent. Not the one you visit when you're feeling inspired, but the one you live in day after day, especially when no one is watching. That's why energy hygiene matters more than momentary motivation. Energy hygiene means you're not just reacting to your external world. You're curating your internal one. You're aware of the conversations you allow, the environments you enter, the media you consume, the people you surround yourself with. Because everything is either reinforcing your signal or interfering with it. You are an instrument, a finely tuned, energetically sensitive being. You weren't designed to carry everything. Not every emotion is yours to hold. Not every problem is yours to fix. And not every thought is worth believing. That's not avoidance. That's discernment. Congruence requires consistency. It doesn't mean perfection. It means harmony. It means you're no longer sending mixed signals to the universe. You're not asking for expansion while clinging to contraction. You're not requesting new beginnings while worshipping your wounds. You've stopped being a walking contradiction. And that's when life begins to respond, not because it suddenly notices you, but because you finally started speaking in its language. Vibration. There's a quiet power that comes when you no longer need the universe to prove itself to you. When you already know that your energy is the currency of creation. When you stop negotiating with fear and start investing in alignment. That power is the frequency of favor. And it doesn't waver. It doesn't ask twice. It doesn't doubt itself into delay. It knows. You can feel it in the way someone walks into a room and owns it without saying a word. You can see it in the person who carries peace like armor, who exudes worth without needing validation, who doesn't force outcomes because they are the outcome. That's vibrational congruence in motion, and it's magnetic. You don't manifest from effort. You manifest from coherence. When every part of you agrees, when your mind, your heart, your body, and your soul are all aligned, you become the answer. You become the portal through which reality shifts. So, Take a breath. Ask yourself, what frequency am I actually living in? Not what I hope to feel, but what I embody each day. What does my energy say about me when I'm not trying to control it? Because the universe isn't fooled by performance. It responds to presence, to the real, honest, unfiltered tone of your being. When that tone is tuned to trust, to abundance, to joy, when your instrument plays clean, clear notes, favor doesn't need to be chased, it comes home to where it already belongs. There's a kind of power you can't fake, a quiet, grounded, unwavering force that doesn't need to be explained. It doesn't seek attention, it doesn't scream, it doesn't hustle, it just is. And when you walk in that power, the universe rearranges itself, not out of obligation, but in response to your certainty. Inner certainty is magnetic, not the kind that wavers when circumstances change, not the kind that needs a sign every 5 minutes to keep believing, the kind that lives in your bones, that breathes through you like oxygen, that knows before there's evidence, that acts as if it's already done, not because you're pretending, but because something deep inside of you has already received it. This is the difference between those who manifest with ease and those who struggle, strive, and exhaust themselves trying to prove their worth. It's not about working harder. It's about believing deeper. It's about stepping into the identity of someone who already has, not someone who's still hoping. Hope has its place, but hope is still uncertainty. Hope is still distance. Hope says, I wish this would happen. Certainty says, it's already mine. And here's the paradox. When you stop needing it to come, it finally does. Because you're no longer chasing it from lack, you're calling it from alignment. There's a parable that illustrates this perfectly. Picture a king. He doesn't run through the streets asking people to recognize him. He doesn't need to shout, I'm royalty, or beg anyone to follow him. He simply wears the crown. He walks like the throne already belongs to him, and the world responds, not because he forces it, but because he embodies it. Now imagine a man who wants to be king, but doesn't believe he is. He begs, he proves, he postures, he tries to imitate the real thing, but there's an energy to imitation, and the universe always knows the difference. This is the energy most people manifest from: imitation, pretense, performance. And because they haven't accepted the crown on the inside, life continues to withhold it on the outside. But the real king doesn't chase the crown, he is the crown, and that's the invitation. To stop acting like the version of you who's still trying to get there, and start being the version of you who's already arrived. This is the essence of the law of assumption, one of Neville Goddard's most powerful teachings. You don't create by convincing, you create by assuming. You assume the state of already having it, already living it, already being it, and from that state everything begins to shift. But here's the key: the assumption must feel real. It can't be intellectual, it must be embodied. You must walk differently, think differently, move through the world with the energy of someone who knows they're already favored, already provided for, already chosen, not because they've earned it, but because it's who they are. The universe doesn't delay out of cruelty. It delays when you're still vibrating as someone waiting for permission. But the moment you stop waiting and start knowing, the moment you become unshakably sure, that's when reality rushes to catch up. The universe conspires in favor of the certain, not the arrogant, not the desperate, but the anchored, the ones who know they are what they seek, who walk like the prayer has already been answered, who rest like it's already done. Certainty is not loud. It doesn't beg for reassurance. It doesn't need to see proof before it believes. It creates the proof by believing first. And you felt it before. Those moments where you just knew. Maybe it was a job, a relationship, a gut feeling that didn't come from logic but from alignment. And even when others doubted you, even when the circumstances didn't support it, you trusted. and things unfolded with a kind of magic you couldn't explain. That wasn't coincidence. That was inner certainty calling out of favor into formation. Now imagine living that way every day. Not occasionally, not when you feel inspired, but as a way of being, as your default setting. You stop asking, when will it happen? You start saying, it's already done. You stop wondering, will I ever be chosen? You start walking as someone who has been. You stop chasing results and start aligning with your role as creator. Because when you radiate certainty, the universe doesn't have a choice. It must meet you where you stand. It must match the frequency you're anchored in. That's not opinion, that's law. It's spiritual physics. So ask yourself now, do you want to keep hoping, or will you start assuming? Do you want to keep searching, or will you decide to become the one who has already found? Because the second you shift, truly shift, your world does too. Not because anything outside of you changed first, but because your vibration became undeniable. And favor always finds the undeniable. Desire is sacred. It's the spark that sets creation in motion. But when you cling to it too tightly, when your wanting becomes needing, you strangle the very thing you're trying to bring to life. That's the paradox. You must want it deeply, but be willing to release it completely. Think of a seed. You plant it with care. You choose the soil. You tuck it into the earth with gentle hands. And then you let go. You don't dig it up every day to check if it's growing. You don't scream at the dirt. You don't water it every hour in panic. You trust the process. You let the soil do its work. You allow the unseen to move in silence. That's what manifestation really is. A dance between intention and surrender. You plant the desire with clarity, then you walk away with faith. That's not laziness. That's spiritual fertility. Because the soil of the universe doesn't respond to obsession. It doesn't bloom under desperation. It needs space. It needs stillness. It needs your trust. Non-attachment is not about giving up. It's about releasing the illusion that your desire defines your worth. It's about knowing that whether or not it arrives, you are already whole, already full, already favored. In Zen, they speak of letting go of the outcome, not because the outcome doesn't matter, but because clinging to it pollutes the energy. In Taoist thought, desire is honored, but never chased. The Tao flows through those who do not force. This is not passive, this is powerful. You become a channel for miracles when you stop trying to control them. There's an energetic difference between yearning and trusting. Yearning says, I don't have it yet. Trust says, it's already on the way. Yearning sends out a signal of lack. Trust radiates the vibration of fulfillment. And the universe listens to that difference with perfect accuracy. You don't have to be perfect in your energy, you just have to be clear. Because here's what happens when you're not. You water the seed with anxiety. You suffocate it with doubt. You plant it today and dig it up tomorrow. You rewrite the vision. You question the timing. You rehearse what's missing instead of rejoicing in what's becoming. And that's how you delay the very thing you were meant to receive. It looks like checking your bank account obsessively. It looks like rereading old messages trying to find signs. It looks like replaying your affirmations in a frantic loop, not from love, but from fear. It's trying to force fruit from a tree you haven't let take root. There is wisdom in silence. There is power in restraint. Sometimes the most spiritual thing you can do is nothing at all. Not because you're giving up, but because you've already decided. Because the desire is planted, and now your job is to trust the seasons. To trust that it's already being shaped in the unseen, that every vibration, every thought, every subtle shift is forming your reality like clay under invisible hands. You don't need to obsess over the how. That's not your job. Your job is to hold the energy of fulfillment, to wake up and embody the one who already has it, to live as though the soil is sacred and your desire is already blooming beneath the surface, even if your eyes can't see it yet. Think of all the times in your life when things came together at the perfect moment, when it finally happened, but never when you thought it would. That's the rhythm of divine timing. It doesn't respond to control, it responds to coherence. You're not here to micromanage the miracle. You're here to prepare yourself to receive it. That's why detachment is so fertile. Because it creates space, it allows breath, it invites flow. It says to the universe, I trust you, I trust myself, and I'm no longer vibrating at the level of lack. This doesn't mean you stop desiring, it means you stop needing, and in that shift, everything begins to soften. Opportunities find you instead of you forcing them. People gravitate toward your peace instead of your performance. Manifestations arrive like old friends who were always on their way, because you've created the space for them to come. You've become the fertile field. This is the kind of power that doesn't scream, it whispers, it rests, it believes in its own becoming. And in that stillness, the universe moves mountains. Non-attachment is not weakness, it's the highest form of strength, because it says, I'm so anchored in who I am, so certain of what I've planted that I no longer need to chase the harvest. I've already received it in spirit, and that is enough. And when you can truly say that, when you can feel it, not just say it, everything you've asked for begins to grow toward you, not because you begged, not because you forced, but because you released. You trusted the seed. Would you like me to continue with the next 1,000 words? Yes, continue where you left off. Identity is the real payer. 1,000 words reveal you don't attract what you want, you attract what you are. The question is not how do I get it, but who am I being? Use visual metaphor. Mirror reality. How you show up determines what reflects back. Identity shift practices. Scripting, I am, affirmations. Acting as if, core point. Favor comes to the version of you who already owns it. You don't attract what you want, you attract what you are. That one sentence can either feel like a harsh truth or the most empowering realization of your life. Because if you've been stuck asking, how do I get what I want? Then you've been looking in the wrong direction. The real question has always been, who am I being? The universe doesn't deliver based on effort. It responds to identity. It reflects who you are in the quiet spaces, not the mask you wear. Not the image you curate, the essence you live in, the signal you emit without even trying. Reality is a mirror. And a mirror doesn't show you what you're hoping to see. It doesn't lie to make you feel better. It reflects you exactly as you are. If you walk up to the mirror frowning and expect to see a smile, you'll be disappointed. But if you shift your face, shift your posture, shift your being, the reflection changes instantly. That's how life works. You want to see abundance, embody the energy of someone who already has more than enough. You want to be loved, become the version of you who no longer doubts their worth. You want to feel free, walk like someone who's no longer caged by fear. Your identity is the real prayer, not the words you speak. Not the vision boards or rituals. Those things can support you, but they mean nothing if you haven't changed who you are being at the core. The version of you who receives the life you want is not some faraway dream. It already exists, in potential, in vibration, right now. And every thought you think, every emotion you entertain, every action you take is a vote for that version or against it. So the work isn't to get there. The work is to become the one who already is. That's the frequency the universe responds to. That's the version Faber is magnetized to. And this isn't about faking it. This is about aligning with it. There's a big difference. You don't pretend to be someone you're not. You remember who you've always been beneath the fear, the conditioning, the old stories. You strip away everything that isn't true and you step into the vibration of who you really are. That's the power of I am. I am isn't just a phrase. It's a declaration. It's a code. It's the beginning of every creation. Every time you say it, you're casting a spell on your identity. I am abundant. I am favored. I am chosen. I am enough. You don't say it to convince the world. You say it to remind yourself, because the world is already listening. The mirror is already watching. And if you say, I am abundant while walking like someone who feels broke, the mirror doesn't change. If you say, I am loved while carrying the energy of rejection, the mirror holds steady. But when your words align with your walk, when your energy aligns with your essence, that's when reality starts bending in your favor. So how do you shift identity? Start with scripting. Write from the version of you who already has it all. Not in future tense, in now. I wake up feeling clear, confident, free. My days are filled with purpose. People respond to my energy. I feel seen, supported, and unstoppable. You're not imagining it. You're living it on the page. And the more you visit that vibration, the more natural it becomes. Use I am affirmations daily, not as chores, but as activations. Say them with breath, with presence, with belief. I am the vibration of wealth. I am the embodiment of peace. I am the magnet of miracles. Speak it like a remembering, not a request. And then act as if. Not from ego, not from delusion, from clarity. Act as if it's already done. How would you carry yourself if you were already successful, already loved, already favored by the entire universe? Would you shrink? Would you doubt? Would you beg? Or would you walk differently? Would you speak with more calm, more confidence? Would you stop proving and start creating? This is not about pretending. It's about practicing, rehearsing the vibration until it becomes your baseline, until your nervous system stops rejecting the new story and starts living it. Because here's the secret. Favor doesn't come to the one who wants it. It comes to the one who owns it. It doesn't respond to the wishful. It responds to the certain. The identity of I am already is the strongest force you can carry. And the more you hold it, not just during the highs, but in the quiet, boring in-between moments, the more your reality must reflect it. The universe can't help itself. It's a perfect mirror. But it will never reflect what you haven't yet become. So if you want more, become more. Not by doing more, by remembering who you are at your highest vibration, by standing in the energy of the one who no longer needs the reflection to feel full, because the fullness is already inside them. And from that place, favor flows like breath. Not because you demanded it, because you finally aligned with the version of you that was never without it. Some things are too sacred to be spoken out loud. In the early stages of creation, your intentions are like soft embers, alive but fragile. Expose them too soon, and the wind of outside energy can blow them out before they ever catch fire. This is the science of silence, a spiritual technology as old as time, and as essential as breath. There is a reason the mystics revered stillness, a reason why ancient initiates kept their rituals secret, their visions hidden, their manifestations close to the heart. Not out of fear, but out of reverence, because the unseen world is delicate in its infancy. It needs space to take form. It needs quiet to grow strong. Neville Goddard taught that the moment you feel the wish fulfilled, you must rest in that feeling as if it's already done, and then, most importantly, say nothing. Not because you're hiding, but because the vibration has to stabilize before it's shared. When you speak too soon, especially from a place of doubt or needing validation, you scatter the energy, you invite interference, you open the field to opinions, projections, and unconscious disbelief from others who can't see what you're building inside. And that interference dilutes the signal. It's like baking bread and opening the oven every 5 minutes. You let out the heat and the dough collapses. The rise gets ruined, not because you didn't know how to bake, but because you didn't trust the process. Vibrational integrity means knowing when to speak and when to seal your energy. It means recognizing that not every dream needs an audience while it's still in the womb. Some things are too sacred to be explained, too divine to be dissected. You've probably felt it, the rush of excitement when a new desire is born, the temptation to share it immediately, to tell someone, to look for confirmation in their eyes. But how often has that stolen something from the magic? You shared the vision, and it fell flat. You talked about your plans and suddenly lost momentum. You announced the shift, and found yourself back in the old pattern days later. That isn't coincidence. That's the cost of exposing sacred energy before it's ready. A pearl forms in silence, deep in the belly of the ocean, hidden inside a shell, untouched by noise or light. It starts as an irritation, something uncomfortable, small, almost invisible. And through layers and layers of quiet nurturing, it becomes something priceless. But it can't be rushed. It can't be cracked open early. It needs stillness to become beautiful. Your desires are the same. You don't need to announce what you're manifesting. You don't need to convince others of what's unfolding. You need to be with it, to hold it close, to speak to it in silence, to breathe life into it through presence, not performance. The most powerful creations are often born in stillness, not in the noise of the world, but in the chambers of the soul, in the space between thoughts, in the quiet knowing that doesn't need to be validated, only nurtured. This is why so many spiritual masters spent time in solitude, not as an escape, but as a tuning process. Because silence is not absence. Silence is precision. It sharpens your frequency. It strengthens your field. It prepares you to carry what you're asking for without leaking energy. There's a moment in the manifestation process when speaking becomes a liability, when talking about the dream too much moves you from embodiment to intellectualization, from feeling it as done to explaining why it might happen. And that subtle shift waters down the vibration. It's not that words are bad, it's that words carry energy. And if the energy isn't strong enough yet, it can't survive the impact of being spoken into a noisy world, so you hold it. You let your silence be the cocoon. You let your stillness be the sanctuary where the vibration matures. You walk through your days like someone carrying a secret pregnancy, not showing yet, but already changed from the inside. And when it's time, when the signal is strong, when your field is stable, the manifestation will reveal itself through action, not announcement, through embodiment, not explanation. People will feel the shift before you ever say a word. They'll notice the favor before they understand where it came from, because your energy will speak louder than your mouth ever could. This is the discipline of the initiated. To resist the urge to externalize, to resist the need to be seen before you're solid, to know that some of the most holy transformations happen behind closed doors, where the world cannot reach them, judge them, or drain them. And in that stillness, in that sacred silence, favor grows like a vine in perfect soil. Quiet, steady, inevitable. You're not hiding, you're honoring. You're not being secretive, you're being sovereign. You're allowing your frequency to settle before the world ever hears your song. And when they do, it won't be noise, it'll be resonance. Your baseline frequency is the emotional and energetic tone you carry when you're not trying, when you're just being. It's what the universe reads the most because it's your default setting. And here's the thing. You don't attract from your occasional highs. You attract from your consistent state. If you want to experience sustained favor, you must raise the level you return to every single day, not with force, but with awareness. You recalibrate your frequency the way you tune an instrument, with intention, precision, and consistency. The first key is presence. Presence is power. The more fully you're in your body, in your breath, in this moment, the less space fear has to live. Fear needs projection. Presence dissolves it. Start with breath. Your breath is the remote control for your nervous system. Shallow, frantic breathing signals danger. Deep, rhythmic breathing signals safety, peace, alignment. When you control the breath, you guide your vibration. Just 3 minutes of intentional breathing in the morning can shift your entire day. Inhale deeply through your nose. Hold. Exhale slowly through your mouth. Let anchor you. Now pair that breath with a mantra, a phrase that calibrates you to the frequency you want to live in, not empty words, but felt truth. I am in perfect alignment. I am vibrating higher every moment. I am a magnet for divine favor. Say it. Feel it. Let it echo inside you like a tuning fork. Then, before the noise of the day pulls you into patterns of the past, set your frequency. Don't check your phone. Don't open your inbox. Don't scroll the timelines of other people's energy. Set yours. Light a candle. Sit in silence. Put your hand over your heart and ask, how do I want to feel today? Then breathe into that feeling. Claim it before the world can distort it. Gratitude is one of the most powerful frequency elevators available to you, not performative gratitude, not forced smiles, real, felt appreciation. Gratitude shifts your perception. It turns what you have into enough, and what you want into inevitability. Every morning, name 3 things you're grateful for. Then, name 3 things you're already grateful for that haven't happened yet. That's energetic trust. That's vibrational pre-alignment. Next, prune your environment. Everything around you is either lifting your frequency or lowering it. Your space, your relationships, your inputs. Take inventory. Is your home arranged in a way that inspires you? Are your digital feeds filled with beauty or anxiety? Are the people in your life reflections of where you're going, or echoes of where you've been? This isn't about judgment. It's about resonance. You don't need to fight low vibrations. You just stop feeding them. Unfollow, unplug, uninvite. This is not harsh. This is clarity. Because favor doesn't land in cluttered fields. It needs clean soil. Understand the emotional guidance scale. It's a spectrum of vibrational states, from despair at the bottom to joy, freedom, and love at the top. You don't have to leap from fear to ecstasy overnight. You just have to keep moving upward. If you're in sadness, reach for frustration. It's already higher. If you're in anger, move to clarity. Then reach for optimism. Then appreciation. Then knowing. Climb slowly and consistently by choosing better feeling thoughts. Your emotions are indicators, not dictators. They tell you where you are, but you get to choose where you go. Now, let's talk about low-frequency behaviors, because they're subtle and they're costly. Gossip lowers your frequency. Even if it feels entertaining, it's rooted in lack. It says, I gain value by diminishing another. That's scarcity energy, and it blocks favor. Chronic complaining is another trap. When you rehearse what's wrong, you reinforce it vibrationally. Your words are spells. If you keep repeating the problem, you keep vibrating at its level. Fear, when indulged and recycled, becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. Not because fear is powerful, but because you are. And what you energize expands. Neediness is especially toxic to frequency. When you say, I need this, you broadcast lack. The frequency of need is the opposite of the frequency of favor. Favor responds to wholeness, to peace, to grounded confidence, not desperation. Raise your standards for the energy you entertain, internally and externally. If a thought doesn't feel aligned, don't keep thinking it. If a conversation lowers your light, excuse yourself. If a situation drains you, step back. You are not obligated to vibrate in environments that make you sick. And you don't need to fix the low frequencies, you only need to stop matching them. The higher you vibrate, the more naturally you magnetize. You don't have to effort or strive. You become the gravitational center. Things find you. People align with you. Opportunities recognize your signal and come knocking, not because you chased them, but because you became the one they were destined to meet. This is not about being positive all the time. It's about being aware, intentional, committed to living in resonance with what you say you desire. Every moment is a chance to recalibrate. Every breath is an invitation to rise. Every choice is a vote for your frequency. And the more consistently you choose alignment, the more easily favor flows. Not as a surprise, but as a natural consequence of your vibration. Question. Impatience is the illusion that you're behind schedule. That somehow what you desire should have arrived by now, and because it hasn't, something must be wrong. With you, with the process, with the universe itself. But timing in the spiritual realm is not linear, it's vibrational, and favor never arrives early. It arrives when the conditions are right, not by the clock on your wall, but by the frequency of your field. What you call a delay is often divine choreography, a sacred unfolding that's aligning far more than just your desire. It's aligning you, because the version of you that asked for the blessing may not yet be the version who can hold it. The universe does not withhold to punish. It pauses to prepare. The bigger the manifestation, the more precise the alignment must be. Think of a great symphony being composed. Every note, every instrument, every rest must align with perfect timing, or the music breaks apart. You are that symphony. Your life is that score. What seems like silence from the universe is often the sacred tuning of unseen strings. And yet, in that space between desire and delivery, the ego screams, "Why not yet? What am I doing wrong? Should I be trying harder?" But that voice doesn't create miracles. It creates static. Divine favor doesn't respond to desperation. It responds to devotion. Desperation vibrates with mistrust, with fear that the blessing won't come unless you force it. But devotion is quiet, steady, certain. It says, even if I don't see it yet, I know it's already done. And from that place, you become magnetic. So how do you move from impatience to alignment? You surrender. Not by giving up, by letting go of the timeline, letting go of the how, letting go of the illusion that you're running out of time or that the universe has forgotten you. It hasn't. It's preparing the exact vibration, the exact moment, the exact version of you required for the delivery to land and last. Practice surrender as a meditation. Sit in stillness. Close your eyes. Breathe deeply. With every exhale, release the grip. Release the timeline. Release the need to know. And with every inhale, breathe in trust. Breathe in alignment. Let your body become a vessel of readiness, not resistance. Now, enter the frequency of already done. See the desire not as something far away, but as something already real, already in motion, already yours. Don't watch it from a distance. Step into it. Feel the texture of it, the rhythm, the emotion. How would you sit if it were already done? How would you walk through the world today if your manifestation had just landed at your feet? What would you stop worrying about? What would you finally release? Let that version of you come forward. Let them lead. This is not imagination. This is vibration. This is reality creation at the subtlest level. The universe doesn't respond to what you want in the future. It mirrors what you embody now. That's why impatience doesn't speed things up. It actually pushes them further away. Because it's a signal that says, I don't believe it's coming. But when you stop counting the days, when you stop measuring your progress by outer results, something shifts. You begin to live from the inside out. You become the vibration, and that vibration collapses time. It's spiritual physics. You've seen this before. Think back to something you longed for. Maybe it felt impossibly far away. And then, one day, it showed up, effortlessly, almost casually, as if it had always been on its way, as if the universe had been holding it gently behind the curtain until you were ready to receive it. That's how favor works. It's not delayed, it's timed, it's woven into a larger intelligence that sees what you cannot see, that knows what you don't know, that loves you too much to let you receive something you're not yet fully calibrated for. So what if this moment, right now, is not about waiting? What if it's about becoming? What if you stopped measuring time by clocks and calendars and started measuring it by expansion, by the depth of your alignment, by the clarity of your frequency? You are not late, you are not behind. You are being sculpted into the vessel that can hold the blessing without breaking. And when that alignment clicks into place, manifestation isn't dramatic, it's natural, obvious, undeniable. That's the moment when you don't even feel surprised, you just smile, because something inside you already knew. You'd already lived it in your mind, felt it in your heart, embodied it in your walk, so when it came it was just a confirmation, not a shock. That's divine timing. So the next time you feel impatience rising, take a breath, close your eyes, whisper, "It's already done." Not because you need to convince yourself, but because you're choosing to dwell in the timeline where it's true. And the more you dwell there, the more the outer world bends to match your inner truth. Divine favor isn't far. It's waiting for you at the intersection of trust and timing, at the edge of your surrender, at the center of your certainty. All you have to do is let it arrive. The secret frequency isn't something you chase. It's something you become. It's not loud. It's not chaotic. It's not desperate. It's still, whole, calm. It hums beneath everything like a perfectly tuned note, vibrating through your being before the world even knows your name. This is the frequency of already having, of knowing, of being in such deep alignment that reality has no choice but to mirror your state. Imagine sound for a moment. When music is out of tune, you can feel it. Even if you're not trained in music theory, your body recoils. It's jagged, disharmonious, incomplete. But when a song is in perfect key, when the instruments, timing, tone, and emotion align, it creates resonance. You don't just hear it, you feel it. That's what it's like when your vibration is in tune with the life you want to live. You don't have to force anything. Your energy speaks in harmony. Your field becomes music. The universe responds not because you made a demand, but because your frequency has become undeniable. And this, right here, is the secret frequency of favor, the state of being where you need nothing because you are everything, where your identity, emotion, and belief are in lockstep, playing one clear, unwavering tone. Certainty, integrity, wholeness. You're not reaching, you're radiating. You're not whispering affirmations to beg the universe, you're whispering them to remember who you are. You're not grasping at timelines, you're dwelling in completion. This is what we've been building toward, piece by piece. Every truth, every metaphor, every practice was guiding you here, into the embodiment of favor itself. Certainty, not as arrogance but as quiet conviction. Identity, not as a future goal but as a now state. Congruence, not just in thought but in emotion, in action, in being. Detachment, not from lack but from knowing it is already done. This frequency is the threshold, the bridge between the self that waits and the self that welcomes. You're not just the receiver anymore, you are the source. Not because you created the frequency, but because you remembered it was always inside you, beneath the noise, beneath the fear, beneath the programming. You're not here to chase signs, you're here to become one. You're not here to search endlessly for the path, you are the path. This is your initiation. into a new way of moving, a new way of receiving, a new way of being. From this moment forward, you walk not as someone waiting to be favored, but as someone who embodies favor as a state of consciousness. The world will feel this before it understands it. You will become a living transmission, without explanation, without permission, without apology. You will be the still presence in a room full of noise. The signal amidst distortion. The clear note that realigns everything around it simply by existing in its truth. So breathe now, gently, slowly, as if your breath is tuning your energy, and speak with me these affirmations, not to become, but to remember. I am the frequency of favor. I am already aligned with what I seek. I do not chase. I attract by who I am. I am whole. I am ready. I am chosen. My energy is clean. My path is clear. My timing is divine. I hold the vibration of already having. I trust in the quiet power that lives in me. I am a magnet for miracles because I live in resonance with them. I am the music. I am the mirror. I am the manifestation. And so it is. Let these words settle. Let them take root, not as fleeting inspiration, but as a new foundation, because from here you don't return to the old frequency. You rise, you refine, you remember. You've tuned yourself, you've planted the seed, you've chosen the identity, you've released the timeline, you've stepped into the sacred silence, you've raised your resonance, and now you are the embodiment. The favor is not coming, it has already arrived. You've walked through lifetimes inside this one life, carrying wounds so quietly no one ever saw them bleed, stretching your soul towards something more, even when you didn't know what more was. Whispering to the stars in the dark, hoping something, anything, was listening, and maybe, for a long time it felt like no one was. But hear me now. You were never alone in that longing, because every ache, every unanswered question, every tear shed in silence was a part of your tuning, a sacred recalibration of your frequency. The pain wasn't the punishment. It was the preparation. You didn't come here to be broken. You came here to remember you were never separate. There is nothing wrong with you. You are not late. You are not lost. You are not unworthy of what you seek. You are already loved, already heard, already seen by something far greater than anything this world could give you. And if no one has ever said this to you before, hear it now. Not from a voice on a screen, but from the part of you that's always known. You are always enough. Favor is not a reward handed out to the lucky. It's not reserved for the chosen few. It's not something you have to beg for, prove yourself worthy of, or chase down in exhaustion. Favor is the natural consequence of alignment. It responds to who you're being, not what you're wanting. It echoes back your inner atmosphere, the tone you live in, the identity you embody, the way you hold yourself when no one's watching. You are not here to plead with the universe. You are here to become so deeply aligned with your own truth that the universe has no choice but to mirror your fullness. This is the journey you've just walked, and though we've traveled it through words, this has always been about your energy. You've remembered how to breathe in harmony with the divine. You've learned how to hold your desires with reverence, not control. You've stepped into the quiet power of already done. You've dropped the noise, shed the static, and tuned yourself to the signal of wholeness. And now you carry something different. A stillness, a knowing, an unshakable grace. From here you'll speak less and radiate more. You'll want less and receive more. You'll ask less and become more. Because you no longer need to prove yourself to a universe that is already conspiring in your favor. You don't have to force what flows. You don't have to scream what your frequency already says in silence. And if the world doesn't see it yet, That's okay, because you're not living for the world's confirmation anymore. You are the confirmation. You are the arrival. You are the embodiment of what you've been waiting for. So now, let everything else fall away, just you and this moment. Place your hand over your heart. Breathe in, slowly, and repeat after me, not as a chant, but as a remembrance. I am the still point in the storm. I am the answered prayer. I am the frequency that calls all things home. I am not reaching. I am receiving. I am not waiting. I am being. I am not seeking favor. I am favor. I am whole. I am enough. I am divine. And now, just breathe. No words, no doing, just stillness. Let the silence hold you like the womb that birthed galaxies. Let your energy speak. You are the frequency. You are the favor. You always have been.